Hello and welcome to episode number 1 of the Let's Talk Hoops podcast, your new home of all things basketball. I'm your host, Olly Rahimi, alongside the Miami Heat UK, coming to you from the Miami Heat UK TV YouTube channel. And we've got lots of exciting stuff planned for Let's Talk Hoops this year. We're going to be talking basketball, life in general, and we'll have special guests and so much more. So without further ado, let's get straight into it and introduce our first guest on the podcast. He is a 6'2" guard. He spent the summer with the Sioux Falls SkyForce, a former Buffalo Bull, and now plying his trade in the British Basketball League for my hometown team, the Bristol Flyers. Please welcome Antwain Johnson. Antwain, firstly, welcome to Bristol. Thank you very much for joining us today. How are you settling into life in Bristol?
And I'm enjoying every bit of it. I got a chance to go out and sightsee a little bit.
Nice. Are you, so other than, I know you went out to a museum today, but other than that, have you managed to get out too much, or has it been mostly practices and stuff?
Yeah, certainly, just mostly practices. But me and the guys, we went out last weekend a little bit. I saw a little bit of the city center and stuff. It was pretty nice.
Yeah, nice. So for those who maybe don't know too much about you, tell us a little bit about yourself, your sort of history and story in basketball.
Well, I'm from Florida originally, and I went to a small high school, 1A high school in Florida, Malone High School. Didn't have many offers, Division 1 offers coming out of high school because my area is not a highly recruited area.
Mm.
But I ended up going to Chipola Junior College where I played, in a couple summer jams, and I ended up getting, a lot of offers. But I ended up taking one for Middle Tennessee State University, and I played there under Kermit Davis, and I ended up winning a regular season championship and a conference championship there. So that was exciting. But Coach was doing such a great job, and he ended up getting a job at Ole Miss, and I ended up transferring to Buffalo, and we had a great team there also, and it just kept going after that. That was the pretty much end of my college career, though.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, as you were saying, just about sort of your college career and stuff, you obviously spent first part of it, as you said, with Middle Tennessee, and then
Mhm.
switched obviously to Buffalo. What was that sort of transition like? Obviously, switching sort of halfway through your college career, was it difficult to adapt? Like, I know
Um,
your stats at Buffalo tell me that it wasn't difficult for you adapting, but how was it
right.
personally?
It was I would say the most difficult part would be, I think that was the first time I was that far away from home. Like I said, I'm from
Mm.
Florida, and that Buffalo is in New York, so that was the adjusting part. That was the main thing I had to adjust to. It was just the distance. But as far as
Yeah,
the guys, I actually knew a couple of the guys going into Buffalo, so they welcomed me real good, and it was a
yeah.
good experience.
Nice. So that kind of leads pretty well on. You were saying about obviously that's the furthest that you've been away from home before. So
Right.
coming out of college, obviously going back to last season, then you spent the year playing in Georgia for Batumi, I think, if that
Yep.
hopefully I'm
For
pronouncing that right.
Batumi. Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
I played in Batumi, Georgia. I actually they caught me in. I think I probably did like 5.5, 6 months there. It was like the second half of the season. They needed some help, so
Mm.
they had called me in, and I actually enjoyed that. With it being my first year, it actually wasn't like I guess a highly respectable league to go to say, but I was able to go over there and put up some good numbers, and get some attention from the Skyforce and things of that sort.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's really cool. Yeah, I saw some of your stats from your time in Georgia as well. Pretty impressive stuff. Um,
Yeah.
so being a Heat fan myself, and obviously a Bristol Flyers fan, when I heard the news that you were coming to Bristol, I was pretty excited. Obviously with the links to the Skyforce and stuff. So
For sure.
you're here on a short-term contract with the Flyers at the
Right.
moment.
Right.
I was actually lucky enough to be courtside for your debut the other day against the Leicester Riders. Um, Played very well, by the way.
Appreciate it.
Despite that being your only game so far, how are you finding playing here in the UK? How have you adjusted? Like, what do you think the differences are in the game here and over in the US?
Well, over here, like especially coming from the G League, I just had to learn a couple things, as far as like defensive 3 seconds. There's no defensive 3 seconds here, so the lane is a little bit more congested,
Yeah.
go to say. But as far as the style and I love Coach. Coach's style, Coach Andrea. He does a great job with us, and he's very big on details. But everybody here like Marcus. I'm pretty sure you know who Marcus is. Marcus
Yeah.
Evans. I knew him for a while. Knew TJ for a while. So we kind of gelled as soon as I got here, and they welcomed me in.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, because obviously it's obviously, as you mentioned, TJ and Marcus, but there's Michael Miller as well, Zach Simmons, both Americans as well. So,
Right.
hopefully having those guys around would have made that transition maybe a little bit easier for you.
Oh yeah, for sure, for sure. All of them great guys. Even the non-Americans, great guys.
Yeah. I know you mentioned Coach just then. He's obviously, when you're sat on the sidelines and for fans watching in the stands and on TV, he's very
Mhm.
animated. So he's very out there and stuff. I want to know, what's he like day to day? Is he the same thing that you see in the games, or
Oh
is he a bit more quieter in practices and stuff?
no, what you see out of Coach, like once he touched the floor, you gonna get that Coach. He pretty much the same. Coach big on his details. He want his sets ran. I ain't gonna say to perfection, but
Yeah.
to perfection in a way. But Coach, he's a great guy, man. He's very very outgoing. Nice guy.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So, yeah, as we mentioned just now, your time with Georgia, obviously, and then
Hmm.
leaving Georgia, you you went on to the Sioux Falls SkyForce, who are of course the G League affiliate of the Miami Heat. You
Right.
were on their training camp roster for the summer. So how did that come about then, from leaving Georgia to going to the SkyForce? How did that sort of happen?
Well, going into that summer after I left Georgia, it was actually my agent. I got an agent. My agent kind of got in contact with the Skyforce, and they wanted me to come down to one of their tryouts, which was in Miami, Florida. And
Yeah.
I ended up going down there, and I did very well when I went down there, and I ended up getting invited to training camp. And just going into training camp. Training camp was great. Great experience.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. So, obviously, the roster of that training camp will have some names that Miami Heat fans will be familiar with. There was
Oh
Micah
yeah,
Potter, Javonte Smart, DJ Stewart, Drew Smith, who all had time in the Heat Summer League team.
right.
But most notably, probably from that roster, Marcus Garrett and Caleb Martin,
Mhm.
who are both now playing on two-way contracts in the Heat, doing really well, especially Caleb, who's thriving in minutes. I wanted to
Right.
know, like, seeing as you were around them day to day, seeing them working, day in, day out, what was their sort of, what was it like training with them, getting to know those guys, and could you sort of see something in them that would lead you to think that Caleb definitely would be doing as well as he is now?
For sure. All of those guys, like whenever we touch the floor, they had their work hats on. They went out there, they work hard. They approached the game in a very, mature pro manner. Uh, I learned a lot, from some of those guys, including vets like Brandon Knight. He was on
Mm,
there for a while before he ended up going to Dallas. So, especially yeah, Marcus. I learned some things from Marcus. He pulled me to the side a couple times and told me a couple things on the defensive side because Marcus is one of the best defenders I've
oh
seen.
yeah,
On the ball for sure.
yeah, definitely. He's brilliant. Even at NBA level, in the limited minutes that he's getting at the
Right.
moment, he really shows how good he is defensively. It's testament to him
For,
for his work, really.
for sure.
So the Skyforce then, as a Heat fan, and
Mhm.
it's something that Heat fans always bang on about. I've got to ask, the Heat culture, is that a thing in the Skyforce?
Oh
If
yeah,
it
for
is,
sure.
what is it? Does it actually exist? Because there's fans of other teams that just don't believe it whatsoever. So I want to hear it from you. What is Heat culture to you?
Heat culture to me is most definitely a family environment. And definitely a hard working guys. Who definitely put the team first. Who's very unselfish. And because even with the Skyforce, like we ran the same offense as the Heat run, so
Mhm.
it's a very family like environment
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So obviously, as I said, your Flyers contract is only a short-term deal.
Mhm.
What's your plan sort of afterwards? Then is it back to the US, or are you sticking around in Bristol, seeing as is the best city in the world, obviously?
Well, actually, that's a great question. I kind of wondered the same thing. As of just right now, it'll be to go back to the States, but I would be looking, to get another contract in between. Maybe somebody see me in these games in between, and they pick me up, or even also just going back and training, try to get back into the G League.
Yeah.
Some of
Yeah.
that sort.
Yeah, definitely. Well, not biased at all, but if you were to stick around in Bristol, I would not be disappointed with that.
For sure.
So outside of basketball, then, when your career is all said and done, all finished, hopefully not for a very long time yet,
Mhm.
but what do you want for yourself long term? So I know you've spoken a bit in the past about like getting into real estate and stuff. Is that something that you can see yourself doing?
Right. Yeah, for sure. Definitely getting into real estate. My main thing is, being an entrepreneur and, owning something on my own. Like this right here, this shirt that I have on is my own clothing line. It's called Product of the Uncomfortable. So I definitely would be doing things to push my brand and just keep building my brand and, things just to keep helping me elevate as a man.
Yeah, for sure. Awesome. So before I let you go, I want to get your predictions. I'm going to do this for everyone that we have on. Your
Okay.
predictions for the NBA season this year. I want you to tell me who you think is going to win the East, the West, who's going to be overall champs, and who is your MVP for the season.
For the East, I know a lot of people probably don't want to hear this, but I feel like the Heat, not the Heat, the Bulls. I feel
Yeah,
like the Bulls will probably win the East, and in the West, I just can't bet against LeBron. I can't go against LeBron because
yeah,
when it comes playoff time, he does so well.
yeah.
So I'm gonna
Playoff
have to go
LeBron
with the
is
late.
a different animal.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So who would you say your MVP is for this year then? Who do you think's been?
My MVP. That's a tough one. I mean, I like I said, I honestly been impressed with obviously, DeMar DeRozan had a couple. He's been having a great season, but
Mm,
my MVP, I got LeBron's been putting up some great numbers, especially for his age. And I'm not just saying because I'm a Kobe Bryant fan. Like it was that
yeah.
talk between Kobe Bryant and LeBron at a point in time, but I'm always Kobe. But right now, LeBron is definitely, holding up his end of the bargain.
Oh yeah, he's playing amazing. I saw actually a tweet from a friend of mine the other day that said um, in 2009-10, I think it was LeBron and Kevin Durant led the league in
Uh,
scoring, and they're doing exactly the same 12, 13 years later, but more efficiently, which to me is it's unbelievable.
it's crazy.
It is indeed. Right, Antwain, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you're a busy guy, so I'm not going to keep you for too much longer.
For sure, man. Thanks for
Good.
having me. I appreciate it.
No, not a problem at all. Good luck for the rest of the season with the Flyers. Hopefully, we'll see you stick around. But all the best for future, and thanks again for joining me.
All right. Thanks, man.
Cheers. So there we go, a short but sweet first episode of the Let's Talk Hoops podcast in the books. Many thanks again to Antwain for being our very first guest, and thank you all for watching and listening. Don't forget to go and follow the Let's Talk Hoops podcast on Twitter, which is the LT Hoops Pod. All the details are down below. Also follow me, Olly Rahimi NBA, and the Miami Heat UK, as well as subscribing to the Miami Heat UK TV YouTube channel to make sure you never miss a future episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you again very soon.